Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. We are the Hayashi Life here in Japan and I am excited for today's video. As you have probably guessed, I'm going to be doing a little Q&A here for you guys. I have gotten a lot of new subscribers and yeah, I have done a small Q&A at the very beginning of me starting my channel, but a lot hasn't changed since that. But I'm going to answer even more questions for you guys in concerns to me, Sarah. Yes. So let's just dive right in. I am excited to get this started and I'm doing this while Mary takes a nap. So yeah, very limited time. So I'll start off by, I am actually from America, the United States of America, and I'm from Virginia. If you don't know where Virginia is, it's on the east coast of America and it's right in the middle. So if you have the whole east coast, you have Maine up here and you have Florida all the way down here. Right in the middle is Virginia. I do make a lot of southern references because of where I'm from in Virginia. It's considered the South. Not all of Virginia is southern, but I would say a good majority of it is, even though that's up for debate. I don't want to go into it. But yeah, I live in the southern half of Virginia, and it is, yeah, country. So let's see what's next. The next question I have is, what brought me to Japan? Originally was a friend, but over time I just fell in love with Japan. I wanted to live abroad anyways, and having a friend here gave me the excuse to go, and it was a job opportunity because I was having a really hard time finding like a good paying job in America where I could only have one job and pay all my bills. But when I moved to Japan, I was able to have only one job versus America where I had like 3 jobs at one time to like actually pay my bills and stuff. So big difference. I like the difference. So but I'm still here and it's been 8 years. I've been here for 8 years now and I've loved every minute of it. I don't think I've ever really considered moving back home. Yeah, I get that question a lot. Do I plan on moving back home or going back home to stay? Yeah, I don't plan to at this time. All of my family is there and that's pretty much the only reason why I ever really go back home is for my family. And of course some of my friends as well. But yeah. My family is a pretty big part of my life, and yeah. My next question that I get often is, can I speak Japanese? Yes and no. I can listen a lot better than I can actually speak it or respond to somebody. So I might understand what somebody is telling me or saying to me, but it doesn't mean I can actually respond in a way that they would understand, or period. Because I don't have the vocabulary or the capacity to do that. But most of my Japanese is survival Japanese. Like, I know how to go to the grocery store, I know how to buy things, I know how to survive pretty much. But if it comes down to like technical things, not so much. I have taken some Japanese classes in the past, but I stopped when I had Mary because of obvious reasons, and I haven't gone back. Not that I don't want to, I just haven't. For the next little section, I'm going to be talking about me and my hubby, Naoki. And yeah, we met online, and a lot of people find that not so strange nowadays. That's actually quite common to meet online. But when we met, like, when was it? 7 years ago? It was only the very beginning of it being okay to meet online. So we were very iffy on telling people that we actually met online. But yeah, we met online. It wasn't through a dating app or anything like that. It was actually through like a website, not like mingle.com or single or one of those websites. It was a website kind of like Craigslist almost, but not as sketch. And we met on there because I put a personal ad out saying that I'm looking for someone to date seriously. I'm not playing games with an intention of possible marriage. I want it to go in that direction. Like, I wanted someone to be looking for that. So that's what I put out there, because I was tired of playing games and stuff with people, and I'm just like, I wasn't up for it. So I put that in my personal ad, and Naoki was someone who responded to it, and we talked through that website for a good, I don't know, 2 months, and then we exchanged phone numbers and began texting back and forth on our phone numbers. And then from the phone we decided to meet, and he actually came to me. I was so nervous because I was always brought up with online meetings being very sketch. Oh, you're gonna get murdered if you go out and meet somebody, blah 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 blah, that kind of thing. So I was very nervous about meeting someone from offline, but I had to. I was, after chatting with him for a long time, and it sounds really creepy, but it's not. And he came to me. He lived in Kanagawa at the time, and I lived in Ibaraki, which is 1, 2, 3, almost 4 prefectures away in Japan. And that might not seem like a lot, but it is. It's a good 3 hour and a half, I'd say, train ride. 4 hours if you're taking the local train, maybe only an hour and a half if you're taking the express. But more often than not, I would either take a bus or the local train, so I would have to allot for the longer time period of travel. But he came to me in Ibaraki, and we had our first date in Ibaraki, and it was really special. We did a lot of walking. Yeah, we kind of like hit it off, I guess. He worked a lot. I was always working during the week anyways, and we would like go off and on who would come to who. So he came to visit me, so I think 2 weeks later or so I went and visited him, and then like another 2 weeks and he would come visit me, just kind of like when we had time, like he would take off or he would have off, he would come and visit me, or I would come and visit him, kind of thing. And it just felt really smooth transition. It wasn't like, bam, we're gonna meet every day, every other day kind of thing now that we've seen each other in person. It was just kind of like an easy transition into like getting used to each other, I guess. Funny story, on our 3rd date, I think it was our 3rd date. I don't think it was the 2nd. Maybe it was the 2nd date? It might have been the 2nd date. I was visiting him, and we were in Ueno. Oh my gosh, this is kind of embarrassing to tell, but at the time it was really important to me that I would tell him things and stuff. So on the 2nd date, I said this. We were in a restaurant eating lunch, and we had finished eating, and I just kind of wanted to sit and chat a little bit, and I wanted to tell him something, but I was so nervous. Can you guess what I wanted to tell him? Yeah. I basically said to him that nothing's going to happen unless we get married. And it took him a while to process it. He actually got up and went to the bathroom, and at that point I was like, okay, he is out. I guess I should get up and pay my bill and go. Like, so I was like, he totally just, okay. But he came back. Thank God. We left the restaurant, and we were walking kind of separately. And after a few seconds, he like grabbed my hand and he said, "It's okay." And I was just like, oh my god. I almost wanted to start crying. But the whole reason for me telling him this was because I didn't want to lead him on and give him expectations that I knew that I didn't want to fulfill for him. And yeah, I just didn't want to lead him on in that way. So I just wanted to tell him upfront and outright so that he knew for later if like stuff escalated or anything like that. I just wanted him to know up front. And about 7 months later, he proposed. And yeah, he didn't propose like in a super romantic way or anything like that. I was actually just visiting him and we were going to bed for the night, and he rolls over and he's like, "Hey, do you want to get married in the future?" And I just kind of looked at him blankly and I was like, is it, yeah? Like, I couldn't tell if he was actually asking me or not, but he was, and that shows now, because I mean, like, we are married. So yeah, we got married the following year, so it was about another 6 months engagement. About we actually had the wedding back in Virginia, mainly because I really wanted my family to attend, and there was no way that my family could attend if I had it here in Japan. We actually had the wedding at my home church, and so many people came. I was so happy. I got to see so many people I hadn't seen in a long time, because I don't go home very often, maybe once every 2 years, maybe if I'm lucky. And then we had a party here in Japan for all of our Japanese friends and family kind of thing here. So we kind of had the best of both worlds in that, because yeah, one, I didn't have all the debt that comes with a wedding here in Japan. Japan weddings are expensive, really expensive. And I was looking at the cost of a wedding here versus one in America, and having my wedding in America, including my plane ticket for two people's plane tickets there and back, the wedding, my wedding dress, all the stuff that comes with a wedding, was cheaper than having a wedding here in Japan. So I went with the one in America. But let's move on a little bit. Yeah, I think that's enough talk about that. If you guys have more questions and stuff, you could always write them down below and I'll do my best to try and answer them. But yeah, Naoki does work full-time, and he's actually a caregiver. If you don't know what a caregiver is, he's basically a nurse, but not technically a nurse. He is someone who works at a nursing home and takes care of the elderly people there. I'd say he's more of like an orderly, if you know what I mean, but he's like a certified orderly. I don't know the whole terminology and all that stuff, but he is going back to school to get a higher degree in what he's currently doing, so that he can maybe move up in the company or that kind of thing, because he works a lot of night shifts and it's hard on us and our family. So he's trying to better himself so that he can get into a better position and maybe request not so many night shifts or that kind of thing. So yeah, I was also working here in Japan. I was an English teacher for 6 years, and then I had Mary, and I'm currently not working because I have Mary. But yeah, hopefully next year Mary will go to school or like preschool, so I can maybe start doing part-time work. But for right now, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I love it. I couldn't ask for more. I'm very blessed to be able to stay a stay-at-home mom for right now. But yeah, I taught English for 6 years, 2 years as an elementary school teacher, and then 4 years as a junior high school teacher. I loved it and hated it at the same time. There are so many pros and cons of being an English teacher. here in Japan, and I don't really want to go into it. That's like a whole video all by itself. But there are so many of those videos out there that I'm sure if you do a quick YouTube search about English teaching in Japan, pros and cons, or something like that, you'll find a ton of videos. So let's talk more about Japan. Let's see, my favorite food in Japan. Oh my gosh, my favorite food is actually okonomiyaki here in Japan. And then maybe my number 2, or tied with number 1, is kushiyage, which is the deep fried food you can get in Osaka. It's like Osaka is like food they have, but you can find it anywhere, even in Tokyo. And my friend Joy turned me on to it because I had never had it before, and she was visiting Tokyo one time. Let's eat this type of food, and I was like, oh, okay, I haven't had that yet. Let's do it. And it is good. Oh my gosh, you've got to have it if you ever come here to Japan. Like, definitely have okonomiyaki and kushiyage. Like, so good. Now, of course, I have my favorite foods, and I also have my foods I do not like here in Japan. Number 1 being natto. I do try it every now and then just to see if I still do not like it, or if I can tolerate it, or whatever. No, I can't do it. I just can't. No, thank you. I have been all over Japan, and it's really hard to pick maybe 1 or 2 places that I really, really like. I would definitely say Tochigi is a fantastic prefecture to go visit. I went to Tochigi. I actually went camping, and we went camping and we stayed in some tree houses, and we visited really nice onsen, and there's great hiking in that area as well. Oh my gosh, so beautiful. I will say I do like countryside areas a lot more than cities. Maybe because that's how I was raised. We lived in the countryside, and being in a big city, I am not as comfortable, I guess. The conveniences of a big city are fantastic, but the peacefulness of the countryside is just calming, and I like it. So yeah, I definitely recommend getting out of the city if you ever come to visit Japan, and go visit those off the beaten path places. Now, you may be wondering, where else have I traveled besides Japan, or if Japan is the only country I've ever traveled to? Can you guess? Yeah, I've been all over the place. Let's see. Let's start with Asia. Let's see, of course, let's start with Japan. I've been to Japan, I've been to Thailand, let's see, moving down, Philippines, New Zealand, Australia 3 times. I like Australia, what can I say? Let's move on to Europe. Let's see, Greece, Turkey, Israel, Jordan, and maybe Cyprus. I think I've been to Cyprus, but it was like on a cruise thing, so it was just like a stop real quick and then kind of get off, kind of like you spend the afternoon there and then you leave. But yeah, I think that's it. Oh, I've been to Fiji. Yes, I love Fiji. Oh my gosh, if I could ever go back, I would totally go back. Loved it. So gorgeous. I'm a chatterbox. I mean, come on. You are the only person that I've talked to in like forever. Yeah, seriously. And yes, I do miss my family a lot. A lot. But there's not much I can do about it now. I have my family here. Me, Naoki, and my little baby Mary. So yeah, so much has changed, but in a good way. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed today's get to know me. If you have more questions for me, write them below and I'll try my best to answer them as best as I can. Please like my video and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!